go. Get everything up and going here. Alright, looks like we're good to go. I was a little worried. I was having some Wi-Fi issues, some internet issues a minute ago, but I seem to have ironed that out, so that's neat. Hello, I'm EnviroBoy. This is my channel. Gonna do some writing, like we do. As a sort of my new normal, we'll give it a few minutes, just in case anyone wants to sneak in here right as we're getting started. It gives me the chance to sort of pull up and make sure all of my tools are ready to go here. Let's see, I want that one open. And then let me check this here. I realize, like, I spend so much time getting everything prepped. Hey, what's up, man? First one, you YouTube simp. First. Nah, I'm just kidding. Welcome, buddy. Yeah, no, I realized I spend a lot of time before stream starts getting all of my tools and everything just kind of preloaded up and ready to go. And it occurred to me, like, I also like to have this little bit of time before the stream, before I really start doing stuff. So that way, if there's anyone who wants to pop in, they can do it. And it's like, I could just, like, 2 birds in 1 stone it that way and take care of all these things, you know, in one fell swoop. So here we are. That's what I'm doing. Stand for EnviroBoy. I'm honored and concerned. I don't know what I don't know that I fully comprehend what all of the implications of that would be. Oh, you like that? You like that alliteration there? Yeah, that's been kind of my recent gaff, if you will, with my titles for the writing is trying to do alliteration. I just go alphabetically, so every stream has a new letter. So today was N, and so next will obviously be O. So it'll be good. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you guys. Wow, everyone's popping in here right as we're getting started here. That's gonna be real awkward because people are gonna come in and be like, "Why is everyone watching? This idiot's just sitting here and there's nothing going on screen." Boy. But yeah, I know I've been doing the alliteration thing, and then for the video game streams, it's always a pun with one of the words in the title of whatever game I'm playing. And it started off as fun, and now it's just hard. I'll spend minutes sitting there trying to think about, like, because I'm playing Mass Effect 3, and so I've been, like, I'll spend minutes trying to come up with a good pun that I haven't already used with Mass or Effect, and it's making me happy that I'm close to beating the game, because I don't, you know, I like to think that I'm pretty good at coming up with puns, right? Like, I work pretty hard at it, just quietly to myself most days, trying to come up with as many goofy puns as I can with whatever I'm dealing with at any given time. But it's there's only so much. I don't know. I appreciate the effort, but I don't know that one's a little too broad over the head. Mass PP. I think that's I don't know if that's a pun so much as just a fart joke at that point in time, but I do appreciate the effort. Let's see here. Finish getting everything up here. But yeah, that's been one of the challenges coming up with all of those pun-believable things to throw in there. But you know, we persevere. These are the sacrifices I'm willing to make for you guys. Okay, let's see here. I think it's been about 5 minutes. Let's go ahead and dive into it. Already got a few people sitting here wondering when on earth I'm going to actually do stuff here. So let's get us over. Oh, I forgot to change it. It's not full screen. It's entire screen. That's what. Aha, there we go. All right. We should be good to go now. I think we are good to go. Alrighty. So, what on earth did we do last time? Last time we were working. Oh, that's right. Last time I started kind of messing around with a few different ideas for how to map out this shrine, and it was a challenge trying to figure out how to make something feel like a shrine that's also large enough for giants and also makes sense for like a dungeon for players to run through. And I kind of goofed around because what I really liked. Oops, that's not what I don't want that. Go away. Well, I guess we can leave it up. Those are so we have this portion right here. Am I muted? Doesn't say I'm muted. Doesn't look like I'm muted. I hope I'm not muted. Let me see here. Check my. I mean, it's showing that I'm not muted. I don't know if anyone can give me confirmation whether or not I'm actually muted right now. I don't. Oh, are we good now? Are we good? Okay. Okay. All right. Good. I wonder if there was a skip in the audio because I. Oh, you. Oh, you muted. It's you that did it. No, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. I still appreciate you letting me know. And I also noticed that you also offered the follow, and I appreciate that too. I appreciate that you're here. No, I appreciate people letting me know, because if people don't let me know that there's an issue, even if you're mistaken, it's helpful to me because I'm really bad at this. And I don't notice things like if my stream is hitching up or muted or things like that. So it's really helpful to me. So no, that is totally fine. That's totally fine. But at any rate, we were working on this dungeon here, and we have our little giant village. And I was kind of thinking about it, and I wanted to kind of invoke this same feeling in the shrine later on when the players get to it. So at first we kind of had this where I just had these big open spaces, but it just didn't feel very shrine-like to me. So I wasn't quite sure I liked it. And we had this, which like it's a little disappointing to get rid of some of this because I worked pretty hard to make this look like a cliff that just like kind of goes off. I didn't really exactly want the void. I would have preferred if it were more sky-looking, but you know. But then I started goofing around with doing our double-walled situation again, and I think that's going to be more akin to what I'm looking for our shrine area. So I kind of want to figure out a way to utilize some of this, but I'll have to still think about it. I think we still got some work to do. Hey, Welkins. It's good to see you. Yeah, it has been a while, hasn't it? I now that I'm thinking about it, it's been a minute, but glad you made it. Glad you made it. I appreciate that you're here. My cat is here. I don't know if you can see her little ears right now. Doesn't look like it. Pew! There she is. There's the kitty. She's my editor today and every day. I know, kitty. Good kitty. What I do streams on usually. So the writing stream that I do right now, what we're doing right now is I basically just stream my writing process as I'm working on my homebrew world and campaigns for Dungeons and Dragons, and then a little later on I do some video game streaming. So those are the basics of what my streams are. Video games are usually more in league with like single player campaigns. I don't really do online multiplayer. That one ain't so much my jam because I'm really bad at it and it's embarrassing. But yeah, so I kind of like this. I really like the dynamic of having the walls be sort of like an option for players to sneak around in. The one thing that's going to make that kind of tricky to use, though, especially later on here, because if we go to our notes page here, we'll remember we kind of have for most of our enemies around here, we have the giant weasels. It would make sense for them to be running around in the walls, but everything else, elk and goats, they're not going to be in the walls. They're actually going to be in the rooms. So we got to strike a balance that still allows for plenty of combat in this dungeon. Along those along those lines, you know. Excuse me. So I think we can still work with this, but I think I need to. we've got 4 rooms, kind of 5 if we use our exterior here. And part of me is wondering if we can use the exterior a bit more to our advantage and have those be like rooms where the like rooms, quote unquote, where the creatures are. Because I divide things by rooms, but it doesn't necessarily have to be explicitly rooms. We can use like areas and stuff like that too, and just sort of describe those areas as rooms and have them be sort of discrete areas, like discrete sections that players enter, and then we offer different descriptions and stuff like that. You can play pretty fast and loose with it. Just wondering if it'll be easier to start completely from scratch here, because I've got a whole lot of stuff going on in here. I set this all up as rooms, maybe? Yeah, I set it all up as rooms. Oh boy, got a lot of layers going on here. I really wish they had just like a grab and delete thing. I mean, yeah, I guess we can do this. I don't know why it's changing everything, but we'll just go ahead and delete all of our little points here, and then we'll delete the wall bits there, because I kind of want to start from scratch. I think proof of concept is in place now. I think this will be a functional idea, but I think it still needs to be massaged a little bit so we can get it functional the way I'm looking for here. But we'll get there. It's all part of the process. It's like I'm constantly saying, you gotta oftentimes just kind of throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what sticks. Because if you don't get anything down at all, you'll kind of end up in that sort of, as I call it, the analysis paralysis zone, where you're just sitting there trying to think about how you want it to look, and you get so hung up on trying to get it perfectly that you don't actually put anything down. So I'm always willing to just like write something down and delete it 15 times, rather than just sitting there contemplating trying to get it exactly right the first time. So thinking about the scale of our giants. So our giants are obviously going to be much bigger. So if we're building something for giants, we want our rooms to be pretty big, pretty gargantuan in feel. And I know for me, generally when I'm making maps, I run into sort of scaling issues just in terms of keeping scale in mind in my eye, in the sense that I tend to view larger rooms as being smaller than they are, because I don't always conceptualize thinking that I don't always effectively conceptualize that one of these squares is 5 by 5 feet. So giants suffering from dwarfism. I think you just described Goliaths. I think that's where that comes in. Working on your one shot all week. Yeah, I mean that's the process. That's the process. Just write and delete, write and erase, and just keep going for it. Hey, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. No problemo. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. But yeah, I run into that issue, and it tends to make me want to make things much bigger than they need to be. Because if we're thinking about 5 feet, I mean, giants, at least the lore that I'm kind of using within my homebrew here, giants are like, the tallest giants max out at around maybe 20 feet. So we're looking at like maybe 15 feet. So that seems like it should be really huge, especially because we consider a player taking up a full square. But really, 15 feet in terms of this, like if we were to do a nice big room, that runs this far here, that's like, that's a good 6 or 7 giants that can lay head to foot, all along there. That's a big room. That's still a very big room. So we can save a lot of this space for outdoor areas, and that will give us a lot more space to work with regarding our wild animal enemy combatants that we're kind of using in here, while still offering the rooms and still giving us room for our double-tiered walls, which is what gives us our fun of our players being, Jack running around the giant's beanstalk and all that stuff, just running in the walls, scurrying around and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to need to think about it in those terms. So I know what we need to do. I'm just going to, Why is it doing this? Why are we behaving this way? There we go. All right. I know we have kind of a there's like a hallway that's gonna go toward. Oops, I don't want that. I want the cobblestone, the stone, because it's all stone. It's all rocks. That's all giants ever use. That's all they ever use is rocks. Just in my lore, that's all they ever use. So it's like if we do this, and this is gonna be kind of like the grand hallway that then leads to the other part of the shrine, which is basically just the building opens up to a cliff and they just like throw crap off it as sacrifices to the mountains. The giants in my lore aren't super bright. They're very simple, and they're like, we must make sacrifices to the mountains. Here, take a goat, and they just like throw it. And that's their approach. That's their approach to things. And I think it's goofy and silly, so I'm sticking with it even though it's really stupid. So if we're gonna do that, I mean, honestly, if we want just like a grand entryway, this is perfectly gargantuan. Like this room right here, this size is perfectly big. In fact, we could even have our double tier. We don't want to be editing points. We can even have our double thick wall kind of set up this way, right? We could even set this up like this. And that's still a really big room. We're talking, let's see here. Hi, kitty. Kitty is... My cat would like more attention, please. This room is, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 by 20, or excuse me, 14 times 5. That's almost 200 feet across. That is big. That's really big. So... Not 200, almost 100, excuse me. Still very big. Still very big. So that's something we could work with, right? I think that's going to be a big enough size. Now, okay, I'm going to undo this. And what we need to do here, there's one thing that I need to do with this. I like the size of this. That's a really good size. Hold on, sorry, 1 second. Too many things happening at once in my life. Oh boy. My apologies. Hold on, I gotta figure something out with my work phone here. Give me uno momento. You can just sit here and you guys can watch me awkwardly try to navigate my work phone for just a second. I just have to check this message really quick here. Check a message, and the fun part is I had to change my passwords because it's considered safer at work to require that everyone change their password, which means everyone will write down their passwords, as opposed to just let us have one good password that we keep using. So that's how we do. There we go. Okay. And all right, we're good to go. Sorry, I just had to make sure that wasn't anything important, and it was not. Size matters on this stream. Size matters everywhere. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. We're all size queens at some points in our lives. Okay, so I wanted to do here. Let's go down to here, and then I need to just do that, because what we're gonna do that, and then I was only the wall there. Should have done it. Dang it, I should have done it in this room. Hold on, I'm getting this right. If you haven't figured it out already, I tend to be a little on the neurotic side about making sure I get everything exactly right. But considering the fact that I am doing this 100% just for enjoyment, and there aren't really any actual deadlines or anything that I'm expected to achieve with this type of project, I feel that we might as well take our time and do it exactly right. You know, take our time and make things looking as nice and pretty as we want, rather than trying to rush things here. Let's see here. So if we do that, so there's our double, and we can put our door right there, right? And so that gives us like a couple rooms, and there's a room right there. For our shrine, and we can do like a couple outbuilding rooms here, and we can kind of just carve away at our walls a little bit as needed. Uh, State Medicare site you have to use for work. Not only must you change your password every month. Wow, every month. That's intense. Can't use 6 of the same characters from previous. Oof, that's really rough. That's really rough because you can't like systematically have one that like just changes from month to month, where like half of it changes so you can just remember or something like that. That's brutal, and it comes from a good and a well-intentioned place of trying to increase security, but it's pretty well known at this stage that if you get too overzealous with that kind of stuff, people will just write down their passwords because they cannot remember their passwords when they change that often. And so then they end up with a sticky note on their desk that has all of their passwords written right there. And it just like becomes kind of deleterious at that point in time. Yeah, I don't know. Those are my feelings on the issue. But I don't get paid to worry about that kind of stuff, so I should probably just shut my big fat mouth. Because what do I know about it? Alright, so I like this, and this is a perfectly big room. I mean, if we think about, like, if it were like a shrine, even with giant-sized chairs, this could have plenty of chairs for giants to pack in for, like, a service or whatever. A book kind of does that, pretty much holds life passwords. Yeah, that's just it. And so it's just like, you know, if you would just let us, like, put the really strict requirements on passwords and then let us keep the same one for as long as we like, change it if there's any reason for it, like we're concerned that there was a hack or something like that, then we'll change it. Otherwise leave us alone. Okay, hold on a second, I need to check something. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, I had to make sure it was centered. Sorry, I had to make sure it was centered. What did I tell you about being a little neurotic about these things? Leave me alone. Alright, so I like this, but I kind of want to add maybe just like a couple side rooms or something. So we can do that. I'll have to change this wall a little bit here, but that's okay. We can make those edits. Let me take it out this far. We want to do the same thing. It's a shrine. Shrines need to be symmetrical because that just makes them seem more like holy, I guess. I don't know. That's how I'm gonna describe it. So let's see here. So if we can do that, yeah, that looks good. So that gives us a couple rooms there. We can have some outdoor areas here. We can put like fencing in some areas. We can have like 1 2 3 4 5 6, and then if we have like 4 interior wall areas, I think that will work. That'll give us our like 10 rooms that I always shoot for. So I think we can make that work. Let me toy around with some walls here. First, we gotta edit some points. Let's get rid of these. Let's just get rid of these and try from scratch. From scriggity scratch here. Done editing points. Go to password's random combo of letters and numbers. So memorized. Nice. I a lot of times would come up with a phrase and then do like the 3rd letter of every word in the phrase, so that way if I forgot, I could be like, okay, well, I at least remember the phrase for this one, and do things like that. I would do that for a while. That was my conventional method. I don't employ that one as often anymore. But yeah, I always come up with some sort of convoluted system like that for thinking of passwords. Okay, so I want to do one right there. We can do kind of the same thing here. So if we do that, because then what I'm going to do is we'll just have that be open. Right, we'll put it, or rather, we'll put a door there. And if we do that, so those are areas there, and those are separate areas. Same thing on this side. Boy, this is making my brain wrinkle a little bit. Trying to make sure I get this straight, and then we can do like here. And these can just be extra little areas that we don't re-describe as separate areas. If we do that, and then we go... no, actually, I like the door. I like the door on this side. Oops. So if we do that, then we can put our doors in there. So that way we can actually have doors that close and everything. And these are different areas here, which I like. I like this a lot. I'm actually quite into this. I think this is great. I think this is gonna be excellent. Okay, so we already got the doors in there. We need to put our doors. Take our portal tool. Boom, boom. Nice big giant doors, which mechanically, in the online system that I use, is gonna be a little wonky because it's gonna treat them all like 4 separate doors rather than just like one big giant double door. But you know, minor first world problems there. Not really gonna lose any sleep over that. Okay, so let me think here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Actually, yeah, if we do that, that's perfect. That gives us like 10 areas because we can just do like some sort of like pseudo wall fencing or something that goes along here. Or we don't even need fencing. I don't think the giants would worry about fencing. We could just have an area, an area, and an area with like stuff going on. Because now what I'm thinking would be really fun. Here's what I think would be really cool. I think it would be an interesting process for these doors, like this door to be locked in some way, and then maybe even these doors to be locked in some way. So players will have to navigate and investigate and find openings in the walls to try and travel through, to navigate their way around. I think that would be a really interesting, I think that'd be a really fun challenge for them to try and have to figure it out that way. So let's see here. And in fact, we could even put keys right here, or doors right here that require a key. Oh, and actually, you know what? I really like that. Hold on. Watch this. Do that, and then let's go back to our portal tool here. Boom, 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 boom. Locked right there. So it's like the final thing is they have to find the key that goes in there. So it's like they can find a standard key that will let them in, you know, through these, into these 2 rooms or something. It's like maybe we have an outdoor, maybe what we do is we have a crevice that brings them into here. And they can kind of go through here to then get into this room where like there's a key that will let them into here or something like that. And then, yeah, I don't know. And it like wouldn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense because why would the key to let you into this room be in this room? Or we could, oh, you know, we could do key lets you into this room that's in this room. And then you have to go back out and go to that one. You can add a whole bunch of complexity to this and just really kind of make it a non-linear maze that players kind of have to navigate, and I think that will work. I really like that idea. So let's see here. This is going to be a bit more complicated, and so we might need to do some specific notes rather than just randomly assigning things to any given room. We might need to be a bit more intentional about it, but there's nothing wrong with doing that. First things first, though, I want to get my areas marked to work with, to write our notes and understand what our notes, you know, what notes require or go with what area. So if we do like 1, we do 2, this area will be 3, this area here is going to be 4. Whoops. Actually, you know what, even better. Up here just because I think it looks prettier if it's a little more out of the way. Alright, 4. And then that brings us to that. Right there, that's 5. And then this one will be 6. Oh, shoot, I messed up my own numbering. Hold on. No. This one's 5. That one is 6. No. Don't give me that. 6. This one is 7. There we go. That's what we're looking for. No. Yeah, because then we can do, 8, 9, and then 10 down there. That's where it is. Perfect. Well, I don't know that I like that. I don't want to use too many of these. The whole point was to not have too many interior wall areas. So here we go. I know how we can salvage this area, this whole issue. We will, because what I'm thinking here is, I just got to think about how I want to mechanically do it. We can have an area outdoor here, and then the front area be an area outdoor. And these can just be all separate areas that kind of describe and have their own dangers that are just like chilling out in the alley, chilling out in the corner, right? Chilling out in the corner, chilling in the alley, and then out in the open here, right? And so we have just essentially 5 outdoor areas. Let's see. Just realized that I accidentally put a bunch of spaces there. And in this one. Hold on. Getting it right. If we did like 8, 9, and then 10. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm looking for there. I like that. I like it. Okay. The only question now is, do we want to bother putting like a wall? I mean, they kind of give us a fence here. And we could sort of like fence off areas, right? Or at least fence off our alley like this and then put like a little gate there. I mean, you know, would the Giants be delicate enough to put a fence there? Probably not. Are we going to be that concerned about the realism there? Probably not. Sometimes you hand wave these things to the side just for the sake of providing a good environment for players to explore. And then if anyone starts cracking wise about it, you just tell them to kick rocks and call it good. It's a little aggressive. And just tell them to deal with it and accept that that's just how it is. So we got little picket gates there, and we can do like an area there and an area there. So I think that'll work just fine. I think that will be perfectly sufficient. So we're gonna renumber some of these here. So this is gonna be 6. That one's going to be 7. That one's going to be 8. This one's going to be 9. And then up here, that'll be 10. There we go. I like it. So if we're going to do this, so there's our stuff there. So now we gotta try and think about a path. This is going to be like a linear pathway, or at least a linear order that they probably will end up taking care of things. But that's okay. Things don't always have to be completely open world, open-ended here. So if we want to kind of direct them and have them go places, right? So if they go there, then maybe they have to go through here, and maybe we put an opening to a wall there or something, right? And then, or we could even put it down there, so they have to go through these 2 areas here. They go through here, and then they can, you know, then later on the other side there's another crack in the wall that lets them into the room here. Into the room, they get the key. Maybe they get like the front door key or something like that, right? They get the key there. I don't mind that. They get the key to go to that door, right? So they can go through there, and then maybe they need to go through a series of wall holes to get in there, which will give them another key. And that key, because this door will still be locked, and like that key then opens up that area or something like that. And so it's like they have to get a couple different keys, but it's, you know, it kind of still takes them in a loop that makes them go around. And I think that's perfectly fine. Usually I like to make things a bit more open-ended. But because that's my trend, then actually sort of expecting them to do it this way is what mixes things up a little bit. So let's go ahead and let's try and let me think here. I think it'll be helpful if we just pull up our notes page, and let's just go make a separate thing here and just make the order of our rooms here. So it goes 10 to, no, bring this over. Just make this easier to work with and easier to look at. So if we do that there, hey, how's it going? Good to see you here. Good to see you here. Glad you're joining us. So let's see. So if we go area 10, then 9, and then 4, and then let them into 3. So let's start with that here. 10 to 9 to 4, and then into 3. So if we go there, 10, 9, 4, 3, and then actually let them in through there, and then go to 8, and then the opening is there. That kind of puts them through there on that side. So 8. Oh wait, hold on a second. Oh, I goofed up. I forgot to number these rooms. Oh boy, man, I'm all over the place. That's okay. That's an easy thing to fix. Easy thing to fix still. So we just we pivot back. We don't worry about the alleys. The alleys are still part of that area. We leave everything else, and we just move some of these numbers in here. Boom. Boom. And then let's see here. This one can stay 8, and then this one becomes 9, I guess. There. See? There we go. Everything's fine. We just got to change our order. So it goes 10, 4, 3, 8, 9. 10, 4, 3, 8, 9. 10, 4, 3, boom, 8, and then 9. Alright, and that's like the order, because that will then, so they go through all of that nonsense, get a key there. The key does not go to this door remains locked. This key opens up, we can actually really go either direction. We can either have it open up this door or open up this door. It really doesn't matter. Because whichever one we do, the key to get through here is going to be in whichever the last room is that they go in. You could even put the key in this one. We could have that be this key opens up this door or something like that. So then they have to go through, navigate, and get in here. And they find the key in here that goes to that room or something. And they have the key to this door that goes in there. And then maybe in this room they find the key to the front door or something like that, but it will be largely irrelevant because then they'll find the key to that door. Do something like that. Just trying to think about what's going to be the most interesting way to have them explore these rooms. I think it would actually be kind of fun if then it's like this goes to the front door, right? There's like a spare key to the front door that's hidden inside of this room. They can go in there, go to that front door, and then they have to like go through there, then go through there, then that wall, and then into here. So it's like they kind of have to wander through everything to eventually get the key to that room, right? And have like the key to the next part be hidden over here. Okay, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm probably rambling, and it probably makes no sense to anyone else, but I've got it up here. I've got it up here, and it's gonna work. I promise. Okay. So they come out here, then they go into room 5, and then they go into 2, then 1, 6, 7. So 5, 2, 1, 6, 7 for the second like half. Oops, no, we need this one. 5, 2, 1, 6, 7, and then exit, because that takes them to the next area. Okay, so that's our order. That's our order of operations that they're going to go. And so, let's see here. So, because they start off, they arrive at 10, 4, 3, 8, and then 9. That's where we'll say key to 5 is there. And so then they go through the door. And actually, we can have the key to 5. We can even have that just be... Well, we'll keep it to the front door just because it's funny to make them have to backtrack. So we do that. So then they can go into 5, 2, 1, and then 6 is the wall, and so 7. And here we can just we can offer up for them key to, actually, you know what? Let me think about this. Hold on, let me conceptualize this a little bit. Let me see something. Pull up our map again, because they have the key to that room. But then if we have holes going in and out, that kind of adds a little bit. So if they went in here first, they could find that. So in theory, they could get the key to that door, unless we make it so that they have to have 2 different keys, right? And so like maybe there's a key to that door hidden in this room and in this room, right? And they need both of those, and these keys also serve to open any of these doors or something like that, right? So it's like they do need to find both of them. Hold on, I'm puzzling. I'm trying to think. See, the thing is, too, is I need to make sure I get this, like, ironclad figured out. And then I have to be careful, though, because this is the type of thing where I will have a clear conception of it, right? And it'll make perfect sense to me as long as I keep my notes clear. But if it's too complicated, it will be darn near impossible for players to figure out unless I can really describe it perfectly clearly what I'm trying to do, because they cannot read my mind, especially my mind in the past. So I need to make sure that whatever we end up doing here is obvious enough to players for them to figure it out. And that's not meant to be like a dig on, you know, players are so stupid. Sometimes they are. Depends on the individual. But if they go here, if the key here, let's try and think about it backwards. If to open up this door and get into the shrine, they need to get a key from over here and a key from over here, right? In this room and in this room. And then these, if we have the key, we could almost do the key to the front actually being like just under a rock, you know, one of them fake key rocks, those hollowed out rocks that you put a key in. Somewhere around here, they do something like that for the key to the front door. And so it's like they could find that to the front door, but maybe these doors are just like locked. So it's like there's ways to navigate the mouse holes to get in through there, and then just somewhere over around in one of these areas outdoors is the key to that one. You can almost like just like make it too obvious and put it in there and have that be there, but then these doors are locked, but then there's like a couple mouse holes to go through the walls of the giant shrine for players to kind of navigate and work their way through. You can almost do it that way. So that way there's like that sort of false excitement of they find the key and they're like, oh boy, there's the key, let's get in there, and then these doors are all locked. And it's like maybe there's just there aren't keys around to do that. That almost feels kind of scuzzy though, to not include the keys. You can almost have the keys to these ones maybe be hidden over here. So they could in theory do that, or they could travel through. Gives them a couple options without really forcing too much, because then they would still by necessity go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the areas, and then these little areas they may find some of the mouse holes. In fact, I know they'll find some of the mouse holes before they find all the keys, because we'll just make sure there's at least one opening into each of these big wide open areas, so that there's kind of a network to go through, and they could choose to do that rather than going through the doors, like trying to find the keys for that. So we could do it that way. We could do it that way. And I honestly don't dislike that. I like that actually because it does make things a bit more open. And I know we just talked about how it's not a problem to force things to be a bit more linear. But if things are a bit more open, it kind of feels a bit more... I don't know that I know the word for it. It just, it tends to be a bit more... It's more escape room-esque rather than maze-esque, if that makes sense. Right? It's more like all of the tools are here, you just need to find them and use them properly, as opposed to like being railroaded and having to follow a specific route. I think I prefer that. I think I prefer it this way. Of key to there, the keys to there being in here and here, these keys being hidden out here, and then this key being hidden out here. I think that's actually really functional and effective, honestly. I think that'll work really well. Okay, that's how we're going to do it. That's how we're going to do it. So saith I. So room 1 has key to room 7. Room 4 has key to room 9. And room 10 has key to room 5. I want to make note of that here. Oops, okay, let's take a second here and let's get this kind of prepared to be formatted the way we need it. Copy that. Here. It's a little tedious, this part, but 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So there's our rooms here. Let's see here. So room 1 had the key to room 7, was it? Hold on, where's it? Room 1 has key to room 7, okay. So room 1, we'll put the reward here, key to 7. Alright, so we know we got that one. Room 4 had key to 9. This one has key to 9. And then room 10 has key to 5 in it. Key to 5. Alright. So we got that. Let's just make notes here. So this one needs 4 key. Just make a note of that so we can remember from both directions here. So need 1 key, and then 5 needs 10 key. Do need 10 key. Do it that way. And then what we can do is to do the exit for the exit here from room 5. Let's do another note here. You know what? And here's how we can really make sure that they go through and find everything still. How we can kind of railroad them into having to do every room in the end is we can do need all 3 keys to open. So it's like a door that's got 3 locks on it, and they have to get all 3 keys to be able to open exit, I should say. So we can do it that way. So that's our network of keys there. I like this. I love how delightfully complicated this is going to be, because boy oh boy is it going to screw with players hard. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Okay, so here's what I liked though. I did like the 2 general pathways that we kind of carved out for where players are going to go. So we're just going to take our threshold, our arch tool here, because these aren't doors. These are meant to be like little mouse holes, you know, relative to the size of a giant's building, right? Because a giant's building, a mouse hole will easily be big enough for a human to like squeeze their way through. So if we do 1 right there, we got to make sure we have a connection there so they can just kind of seamlessly go through this wall. And then we can put 1 right there. And that's how they go about getting into that room. And then here we were going to put, if we do like in the corner there, right, and then maybe we'll put 1 right up there. So they're kind of close there, so, you know, maybe we'll hide some like treasure or something that, you know, some jewels or something that a large weasel or whatever has pilfered and hidden away, right? And we can then, so that then opens up to there, and then we can have it be, right, a mouse hole over there, and then like, oh, actually, you know what we could do? Hold on, undo. Let's put that right there, right? So they're just kind of right next to each other, and then they got to go all the way around to get in there, and then just to make it fun and funny that there's extra stuff for them to get stuck in, we can put more things there. So that gives us a little. That gives us a couple pathways for them to kind of wander around in here, a couple different ways to get into there. This area is a bit more self-contained, right? But they can go through and find all the keys that way. Yeah, this gives them a few different ways to go about while keeping the doors locked. So it's an interesting situation where the keys, because of these openings, the keys as far as navigating this whole area are largely irrelevant, but they still need to find all of them to go through there. So you can almost offer up the false sense of, oh, we don't need to worry about that, right? You can kind of give them like a false sense of success with them still getting around and finding the entirety of the map without using the keys, but they still ultimately need to get the keys. So I think that works. I think that works and achieves exactly what I want to achieve. I kind of, just because it bothers me that that's a wall, I'm going to put the archways there just so that way it's like, yeah, it opens up so you can go to the next part of the shrine. So I think this is perfect. It'll also be kind of funny to make them have to figure out. I'll probably put a note there. Make them figure out how to use the key, because like we're talking about vaulted ceilings in a giant, like a shrine made by and for giants. So it's like they're gonna have to do some acrobatics and get some people on each other's shoulders to be able to like handle the key and the doorknob for it. I think that actually would be really funny, so I'm gonna make sure and put little notes about that. Yeah. Okay, I like that. Okay, I'm gonna do just a couple quick atmospheric things here that have been bothering me, but I didn't want to worry about it quite yet until I knew everything was how I wanted it to be. We need to pull up our mountain palette here. Yeah, limestone looks fine. So I just want to make the baseline background here all limestone, because we are on a mountain here. There we go. So if we do that there, and then I kind of want to do some snow, and let's do smooth blending with our snow there, so that way, you know, we have like a few patches of snow. Snow is not actually all that like visually distinct here, but that's okay. Kind of still gives us our. What happens if we turn off our smooth blending? I don't know. I like the smooth blending for this effect here. There we go. So it's kind of on a snowy, cold mountaintop there. That's good right there. Okay. I'm gonna just get our limestone here. Just darken up a few of these areas. Make sure it's not too like grassy. Okay. All right. I'm satisfied with this. This looks great. Let me go to our label management here because, it's the Shrine, not the Shrine. So Shrine, part 1, we're going to go ahead and delete this one because we don't need that one anymore. Boom. And this is no longer the alt, this is the primary. There we go. Okay, I like this. I actually really like this. I think this is going to be a really cool map. There we go. Oh, hey, look at that. You can add, like... I like that you can add the effects for the sake of just imaging and make it look like a map. Right? See, like a sepia map? That's kind of cool. I've never really played with those. Like, I've seen them there, but I've never really played with them. But at any rate, we don't need to worry about that. We're not worried about that right now. Maybe someday, at some point in time, but not today. Yeah, and I think the scaling of this is actually perfectly fine. When I look at this, and when I think about the size of, like, an elk, right, if we have, like, just a small herd of, like, 5 elk hanging out here, like, this definitely looks like a perfectly large building for that, especially if you have them just kind of, like, you know, foraging or whatever in this area, or a couple giant goats, like a couple giant mountain goats just kind of foraging around here. And then you look at the sheer size of this. I think that works. I think that works just fine. Okay. All right, I feel good. I feel good about this. Let's, so the next thing we're going to be doing here is we're just going to be describing and then decorating all of these rooms a little bit to a certain degree here. So what I want to do now is we got to pull this up. And let's see here. So we know we've got our keys kind of ironed out here. So we've got 3 key rooms here. Normally one of them would be like a boss key room, but it's not going to work exactly like that. Because the boss key is just to get to the next segment. But I think that works just fine here. So we got our 3 keys here. I'm going to pull this up here. The only thing that we're going to have to be kind of attentive to is where our battles, our combats wind up being, because we need to make sure that it makes sense. Like, we're not going to wind up having, where is it here? We're not going to wind up having a bunch of elk in this long room here, right? So it's like, if there's going to be any combats happening in the walls, those need to be done at, like, with our weasels, the critters that will actually be roaming around in those areas. The other thing that we need to think of is a reasonable explanation for why there would be a herd of goats inside a completely locked up building. You know, like in these rooms that are pretty well boarded up. This one I think is actually easy enough. There's a pretty direct pathway that the goats might sneak their way in through there to try and find some shelter. And I suppose it's not unreasonable to think that maybe some goats would do that. I think goats are more likely than elk to do that. And then the monkey wrench, though, is that it's supposed to be giant elk and giant goats. So that will make things a little bit confusing as well. But I don't know. We can kind of hand wave just a little bit. It's not the worst. Not the worst thing in the world to just do a little bit of hand waving when it's in the name of providing a fun game for you and your friends. That's my motto. It's my motto, and it's also my way of excusing my mediocre performance in producing these things. So, okay. I think we can do at least a certain degree of random assignment of things here, of what goes in what room. So let me pull up our list here and make sure. So as far as dangers go, so remember every room in general will have a danger and then a reward in it. The rewards possibly being keys, possibly being treasure, possibly being items. There's a lot of different opportunities for different types of rewards hidden and buried around this place. And the dangers are primarily combat, but we'll also make sure there's at least one puzzle and at least one trap in there for our dangers. And so we can include those types of things. And then there's always one safe room, one room that doesn't have a danger in it, and one room that is just empty and doesn't have anything exciting in it. So so let's see here. So I know we need 3 easy combats here. I'm just handwriting all of this right now, so that way it's just easier than trying to, because I'm making a checklist, so I can check off the things once we add them, so I don't accidentally do too many of one or another thing. We need 2 medium difficulty battles. We need 2, this one, because there's no boss battle here, we need 2 hard difficulty battles. So we got those. We need a trap, we need a puzzle, and then we need an empty room that doesn't have anything. And so now as far as the rewards go, we do need our we do need, so I always do, so we're doing the method that I like to do, which is like the Zelda dungeon method, quotes, I don't know if the camera caught them, Zelda dungeon, where I include items that I include some form of a map and some form of a compass. Typically speaking, I'll add those things. That way it's like if players find the map, they can see the entire map, and then if they find the compass, that will point them towards that'll point out what the different types of rewards in the dungeon are. Very meta approach to it. Definitely not realistic that there would always be a map available or some magical item that just always tells you where the valuable items within that part of the dungeon are. It's definitely a very game mechanic-y type thing. But it's a style that I've kind of adopted for when you're in a dungeon. It's kind of an instance type of situation, like an instance in World of Warcraft or whatever. You know you're in the dungeon. You know things are a bit more board game-esque. There's going to be a bit more meta involved there, so that way you can sort of recognize that, oh, we're playing a game and trying to solve puzzles and have our characters survive in this more gamey part of the game. And then when they're not in the dungeon, or when they encounter certain specific things in the dungeon, depending on how we design our dungeon, right? Like in the previous section where there are sentient giants, if they do have an interaction with the giant, when you're not like wandering through the dungeon trying to, find your treasures and kill your monsters and stuff like that, that's when things become much more organic, much less like game mechanic-esque, and much more free-form role-playing. And so that's kind of how I balance it, and it's worked well for my players. They enjoy it, so I stick with it. But I just mentioned that to say, if you're watching this looking for ideas and you don't like it, don't use it. That's totally understandable. Every group is going to be a little different. Some groups are going to really like that kind of stuff. Some groups would hate that. Some groups would really hate the sort of game mechanic approach to things, where it's like, exploring a dungeon feels like playing Skyrim, where you can go through and you can find certain things that will unlock parts of the map for you, in terms of just like on your mini-map, make some things more visible or whatever. So, it's take what works for you, ignore the rest. Let's see here. So, at any rate, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. So that's what I mean. I just wanted to throw that explanation out there for anyone who hasn't seen me make a dungeon yet. That's what I mean when I now am talking about my rewards and say there's going to be a compass, there's going to be a map. Sometimes too, if it just really doesn't make sense for there to be a map, if things are just like really just it makes no sense at all, then I will nix it, and that's fine, because that just then adds some variety to your dungeons. So, everything's situational, but at any rate, we do that. Normally there'd be 2 regular keys, and 1 boss key. In this situation, we're doing 3 keys, and then those ones will unlock the next part of the shrine because there's no like boss battle here. So that's going to be a little different than the conventional. There's going to be an enchantment token like I always do. That's a homebrew system I do with my players, and they seem to enjoy that. I can explain it a bit more whenever we get to the point that I'm describing whatever enchantment token is there. Nutshell, it's a system in place where they get a little token with a specific spell imbued on it, and they can then use that to further imbue it into a weapon or piece of equipment or whatever they want and create their own magical items rather than me just kind of randomly doling out magical items. Gives them the chance to customize their items to be magical in the ways that they want, as opposed to just like dealing with whatever things I give them. Spices things up a little bit. My group seems to like it. It's not going to work for every group. Some groups will not like it. Do that. One of the rewards is definitely just going to be a whole bunch of money. Who doesn't like finding like a sack full of gold? Everyone likes a gold sack, if you know what I mean. Let's see here, and then there's going to be one that has like an item in here. I do always provide 1 item, but it tends to be kind of like a random unique item that I've made up that's very specific to this area, whether it's specific to helping them solve the challenges they're going to face, or specific in the sense of, like will probably be the case with this one. This is a giant's place, so maybe the item is like some sort of giant item that they can still kind of use in some way, shape, or form. Like in the other part, in an earlier part of this dungeon, right, when they're going through the giant village rather than through the shrine. The village, there's an opportunity where they'll find a sleeping giant, and that giant's cane is right next to its bed. They can take the cane, and given the size of it, it will serve as like a staff for whoever wants to use it. It's like a giant quarterstaff. So it's like, you know, fun little things like that, where it's like not all that mechanically special, but it's still fun and interesting and thematic. Then they can either sell it for a little elevated price because there's something special about it, or they can just like, if they have a home base, they can just like trophy case it and be all like, remember when we did that thing? Yeah, I remember when we did that thing. Up to them, really. But at any rate, so there's going to be an item. One of the rooms always has some sort of health potion or health buff. A lot of times I'll try to make it a bit more thematic. So like in here, I'm wondering if the thing that'll be fun is if there is like some plants growing that if someone has a good enough nature check, they can recognize like, oh, we can chew on these leaves and it will have a healing effect, and then it serves as like a potion of healing or something. You never know. Could be kind of a fun little thing for them. So we do that, and then there's one that's going to be an empty room here. That will just, there's no reward there. I guess one distinction that I didn't make with the dangers, the room that doesn't have any danger, not only does it just not have danger, I call it like a safe room. And it's a room that has like some sort of explicit description that if players want to, they can easily fortify this room to take a long rest without there being a risk of wandering monsters coming in and attacking them. Because I do always include the chance that a wandering monster could come in and disrupt a long rest. So I've got those written down. I'm going to. It is a D&D themed podcast, or not podcast, stream, and as it were. So it makes sense that we would have at least some opportunities to use our dice. So I'm going to pull open my big giant dice bag here. The camera doesn't really, it's hard to do it on the camera. There's my dice bag. It's one of them fancy partitioned ones. So that way I can have like a million dice, but still always be able to find the exact dice that I want. It's one of my favorite possessions. It's one of my favorite possessions because it enables one of my favorite addictions, which is dice. Some people are really into collecting minis. I'm all about the dice. Minis, that's just a lot of money spent on something that's, and like this comes from being a DM, right? Because I don't have a character, so I don't have like a prized, this is the mini for my character that I custom designed, and they're like painted to look exactly like my character. I have millions of them, so to me, minis are just like, I spent $40 on this dragon that I'll use once. And it's like, for that same amount of money, I could get like 7 sets of dice, and they're all gorgeous, and I will use them over and over again. So dice are my thing. Put in the comments what you're obsessed with. Is that how I do that? Is that how I'm supposed to plug things and beat algorithms? Tell you guys to arbitrarily participate in the comments? I'm really bad at self-promotion, and I don't like doing it. Just here to talk about D&D. Anyway. Okay, so I know... So we know we've got our keys kind of distributed as need be. So we can actually X those off the rooms, because when we get to them, we won't need to distribute anything. I'm just going to roll dice randomly to randomly distribute the dangers and the rewards in the rooms, modifying if necessary, particularly with the combats, thinking about making sure that you know, a sensible monster ends up in a room that like makes sense, you know, like I say, so we don't end up having like elk with big giant antlers trying to rattle around in here. That just doesn't make sense. I think we can hand wave a little bit and say, yeah, no, the goats kind of learn that there's a pathway to go through here so they can find shelter in this room, and they just live in there, and then they'll go out there when it's time to eat. You know, they can do stuff like that. So it's like we can have goats on these interior ones, but then elk, it'll be mostly elk, or rather all elk will be outside. Goats can be inside or outside. And then if there's any combats in here, it'll have to be the easiest ones, because it will be just weasels running around in these areas. So little weasels. So okay, let's do some distributing here. So we're gonna start with a D10. So this first room here, what is the danger to this room? That is going to be a medium difficulty battle based on what the dice say, and let's just make sure that makes sense. 1 here, yes, we can do that, because that will let us play. That will let us play with some stuff. Although there's one thing I want to check here. What enemies? The giant goats. So yeah, so actually, because the giant goats are more difficult than the elk. Again, giant goats squeezing through that wall. A little magical, but you know, we'll let it go. We'll just let it be. Not worry too bad about it. But because of that, doing the mediums on the outside is fine, and having the difficult ones being on the inside is perfectly fine, because the goats will be on the inside. Yeah, I don't know. It makes sense in my brain, and since it's, you know, I'll be the one DMing this and I'm the one writing it, that's all that matters. So, rest of you can just deal with it. This guy's horrible. He's really bad at making friends. He says mean things to everyone, even though they're supporting him. All right, medium battle there, and we already know that one's got the key, so we don't need to worry about that. Let's do, okay, so our next room here is going to be, that one's going to have, so room 2, the danger expected there is going to be an easy battle, and that's perfect, yeah, easy battle. We can have some just weasels running around in there. So yeah, I like it. I'm happy with that. Fate has agreed with me that that's how it should be. Easy battle. We'll come back and do rewards in a minute. Let's see, I gotta mark these things off here. Alright, we're gonna pull out a D8 so that way I don't have a bunch of erroneous useless rolls. Alright. Next challenge will be a medium battle. Room 3 is our... Which one was room 3? Room 3 was this. I don't know... I mean, we could just do, like, weasels and goats running, or... Yeah, we could do, like, a couple goats to make that a medium one. Could probably pull that off, but I actually think I'm going to nix that. Because when I'm thinking about our battles, right, we're going to have 7 battles total. If we do 1, 2, 3, that area, 4, 5, 6, 7. We only need 1 in the walls, so I think the walls are going to have different things going on. I think I'm going to decree that. So no. Basically, from now on, the walls are either going to be safe, have a puzzle, or have a trap in them. So one of these will be a safe wall, one of these will have a puzzle, and one of these will have a trap in it. So I think, just thinking about it, I don't know that I necessarily care which one is the safe one, which one has a trap in it, and which one's kind of got a puzzle. I don't think I really care. I'm just going to roll for it. And so I'm going to pull out a D4 since there's really only 3 options, and if it's a 4, we'll re-roll. That's how I'm doing it. So says I. Okay, so room 3 is going to have a puzzle. I have no idea what the puzzle is going to be. I have no concept at all of what it's going to look like, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. That's one of my favorite things to do when I'm assigning these challenges and rewards, is to just cross the bridge as needed when we get there. And I'm okay with doing that, though, because it turns into kind of a fun, creative writing project to make yourself do it that way, honestly. Because suddenly, like, I've kind of written a check, and now I got to figure out how to cash it. And so, you know, I start thinking outside of the box, trying to figure out, it's like, okay, well, I know it's going to be a puzzle. How do I puzzle it? How do I make it a puzzle? And it becomes a fun challenge for myself. So we'll do that. So 4 is an exterior one. That one's definitely going to have a battle in it. There are only 5 battles left, so I'm actually going to pull out a D6 for that, and just so that way I don't have erroneous rolls as often. And as soon as I say that, I roll a 6, so we'll re-roll it. Okay. Easy battle. Yeah, that's fine. Yes. I think we can... No, wait, no. I want the... Wait, hold on. No, it was the goats that are the most difficult. So, yes, an easy battle outside is perfectly fine. That makes perfect sense. Yeah. Right. And if it doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. I'm the one who has to try and make it make sense here. So you can just kind of sit there and judge me. Easy battle. Not battle. Yeah, feel free to judge me. That's totally fine. I recognize, by putting myself on camera, on screen, I recognize that I'm inviting a lot of that anyway. So, by all means. Alright, so there's the easy battle there. That works just fine. Next one, so there's only going to be 4 dangers left, so we're just going to use a D4 from here on out. Room 5, it has been decreed, we'll have an easy battle. I actually don't like that. I want the easy outside, so that way it's easier for us to use the elk. So, hey there, Keldar. Oh shit, we got a necromancer. We got a necromancer in here. Watch out, everybody. Welcome. Glad to see you here. Glad you are here. Let's see. So we'll do. I wanted to re-roll that. I don't want it to be an easy battle. Okay, perfect. It'll be a hard battle instead. I mean, I could just like decree that, but it feels better if I invoke my will and force the dice to tell me that that's what we're doing. I like to feel powerful, and if I can exert my will over an inanimate object, for some reason that gives me a false sense of power. So we just go with it. So that's what's going on in 5. 6, if I'm remembering, where's my map? There it is. 6 is an interior area, so that's either going to be a safe area or it's going to have a trap in it. Let's see here. Okay, it looks like that's going to have a trap in it. That's great. So there'll be some sort of trap, some sort of way. Probably I'll make it so that part of the wall crumbles and can potentially trap them in the wall, depending on how they do stuff. I don't know. We'll iron it out when we get there. We'll iron it out when we get there. Room 7, this one's going to have a battle. I'm going to make this one, I guess it doesn't matter. One of them's going to be medium, one of them's going to be easy here. So I guess we'll do medium. Is that right? No, it's not. No, it's not. There's a few more options. There's another hard option as well, so we'll roll for it. Okay, that's actually gonna be one of the hard battles. Great. Great. Neat. So we got that. Let me make sure I've got everything still going right here. We got 1 medium, 2 easies, 2 hard. So there's 1 easy and 1 medium battle left. Yeah, that makes sense. That's exactly the breakdown that we're looking for there. So that's good. Number 8. 8 was the interior there. So that's gonna be our safe area. So that's the area that we'll have to somehow describe that they can fortify and be able to take a long rest without being accosted by wandering monsters if they so choose. And then, so 9 and 10. 9, we're going to go ahead and do the medium battle. And then 10, I'm going to say, is going to be the easy battle, because 10 is our first entryway there, like where they first walk up. So I think it makes most sense for that one to be a pretty simple one. As they walk up, there's just a couple stray animals wandering around that will be territorial and angry at them. So, okay, so there's our dangers. That works. That works. I'm satisfied with that. We've already got our keys distributed for our rewards, which is good. That's how I like it. Sorry, that was aggressive. Sorry, that was needlessly aggressive. I apologize. Let's see. Sorry, just got to catch up on my markings here. Okay, so now we just got to figure out where our compass map and everything else is. The trick is going to be to make sure. So the one trick is primarily with the compass and with the map, right? Those ones are going to be. It's going to be good to make sure we put those in places other than like the very last place that players could end up going, or rather make it accessible right from the get-go without having to find any keys or anything is always the trick for those. So that way it's like even if they're not intentionally looking for those, they can still find them in time for them to actually be useful. Because if we put the keys behind, or we put the map and the compass behind where all of the keys are, right, then it doesn't, then it's like, oh, they've already found the keys, which is the really important part that the map and the compass could be helpful in finding, so they don't need it. They're largely useless. So if we put those just in areas that you can get to without needing a key, then it can, like, either give them clues on where to go next, or it can, like, clue them into, hey, you missed something in this room, you better go back and look at it again, right? If you do stuff like that, it kind of makes it a more functional game mechanic. Since we're already, like I say, since we are accepting that things are gonna get a little meta, a little game mechanic-y, doing it that way. We recognize it's not 100% organic. There's a little bit of like, yeah, no, you're playing a game. These are the rules of the game. This is the item that kind of breaks actual physics and logic, but it works for the sake of the dungeon. So there it is. Like I say, two parts of the game the way I do it. There's the dungeons, which are instances a bit more game mechanic-y, and then there's the role play outside of it, which are much more based in logic and the rules of the world and everything like that. Just kind of makes it fun, makes it so that not every session feels exactly the same. There's some different things that you can have to interact with there. So, my apologies. One thing real quick there. Okay. So, at any rate, let's figure out where those things are going to go. So the good news is I think we can put the map and the compass kind of wherever we want to put them, because all of the rooms, because we've designed this one so that with these little nooks in the wall and players being able to travel through the walls of this giant, this shrine built by giants, right? They can just kind of scurry their way around like little mice. Because we have these, all of these rooms are accessible from pretty much the get-go. So, hey, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Appreciate that, Kaldar. I appreciate that. And, if you can find the time and energy, if I do meet an untimely death, I wouldn't mind being brought back to life since you're a necromancer. Just throwing that one out there. I'll find some way to repay it, I swear. No, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you, and I'm glad that you're here. Okay, so all of these are accessible, and so what I'm thinking would be kind of fun and just like thematically symmetric is if we put like the map over here and the compass over here, something like that, right? So it's like they're just in these rooms, and what I'm thinking would be really funny is if we flavor them, they're like really crudely written, like handwritten notes, where it's just like a giant being like, like this room is for this room is for this, and that's like what the map is. And then like the compass is like, remember, put this in this room and this in this room, and that's like what the compass is. It's just them writing notes to themselves because they're too dim to remember it. Hey, Nep, good to see you. Nep 700. Hi, welcome. Glad to see you here. Need a drop of blood and a piece of flesh and a pinch of bone dust. Does it have to be mine or can it be anyone's? I won't be very smart though. Okay, good. So nothing will change. Haha, self-sing. Oh. Yeah, no, that's the question. Is it my blood, flesh, and bone, or can it be anyone's? I can work with either. I just need to know. All right. Let's see here. Yes. So let's do, I don't know, let's do the map in room 7 and the compass in room 9. Why not? It's pretty irrelevant. It doesn't matter which one is which because both are equally accessible from the beginning. So we'll put the map there, and then the compass here. I don't know why, but I always prefer the spaces surrounding a slash. It just makes it easier for my eyes to visually register that there's a slash there. I don't know why I even brought it up. Probably no one else in the world recognized what the hell I was doing, but you know. Depends on if I want to be a skeleton or zombie. Ah, fair enough. Okay, all right. I guess I would lean more towards skeleton. I feel like skeletons are just, there's something a bit more clean about a skeleton. Zombies are kind of drooly and gross. I mean, I suppose with the brains of a zombie, I wouldn't mind. But I don't know, there's just something a bit more composed about a skeleton. So I guess that's what I'd lean towards. That's what I'd lean towards, if you're taking orders. I mean, I'm already requesting a lot of you here, so... You know, you're the one in control here. You've got the power to decide this. So, you know. That's here. So we got our compass and we got our map distributed. So now we just need to throw down an enchantment token, our money, and items, some health, and figure out which one of these rooms is going to be a disappointingly empty room of treasure. Or rather, of no treasure, because it's empty. Let's see here. Hey, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. I'm so glad that you are here, and I am honored that all y'all are interested enough in what I'm doing that you'd think about coming back. So thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see here. What was I doing? My brain is short-circuiting right now. I'm not stupid. I'm just... Okay, yes, we're talking about our money and stuff like that. Okay, we need... Well, I mean, I am stupid, but not for that reason. That was just brain fart. You know, there's like a difference. There's a difference between being dumb and a brain fart, and they're not mutually exclusive. You could be both. Case in point. All right, let's see here. So, let's see. What room do we? So room 1 already has the reward. Room 2 still needs a reward in it, and we rolled up. That one's gonna have our little enchantment token hidden somewhere in there. So that's fun. That's fun, and I'll kind of explain what the enchantment token is when we get there. Looks like we'll have enough time. We'll probably get there, because it's a completely homebrew system that I've done, that players seem to like. It's not necessarily like all that well balanced. It's a game mechanic that definitely invokes the rule of fun, where it's like, hey, this is a fun way to do it. It doesn't really make sense, and it is kind of plays fast and loose with even my homebrew lore, but it's a fun thing to do, so we do it. Okay, the next room that still needs something, room 3. That one's going to have some money in it. So we're just going to throw like a sack of gold or whatever, I don't know. Money. And then, okay, well, let's see here. We still need to find a reward for this room here. We got that one. Those ones are figured out there. Whoops. Alright, let's see here. Oh, Kitty, are you gonna come intrude? Are you gonna walk in front of the screens of the camera? There's the cattail. Kitty. Oh, stretchy kitty. I'm gonna sit right in front of right in front of me and be the worst window ever. Oh no, you want Snuggles. Okay, Kitty wants Snuggles. It has been rather chilly, so she is now very, very demanding of body heat. So she sits in my lap quite a bit right now, which I'm not going to complain about. I mean, come on, kitty snuggles are like the best. Okay, this room. Yes, this room is going to have... Oh, this is our empty room. Room 5. Oh, yeah, the nice big room. Nice big room. It's going to have a really difficult battle, and it's going to have nothing to give them in return for them surviving it. Give me a nice copy of the Book of Vile Darkness for some lichdom. The Book of Vile Darkness. I just love the title of that. The Book of Vile Darkness. I feel like that would be a really fun one to read on a public bus or something, and just be sitting there And if you catch anyone eyeing you, you just kind of look at them and like give them a really meaningful look, and then like look down at the book and then look at them again and just let them interpret that however they want. I love the title of it. I love the title of it. Okay, so that's our empty room. So now we just need to figure out where our item, where like our random kind of item goes, and then our random health items, like so like the random item is more so like a weapon or an armor, and then the health items is like a potion of some sort. So room 6, which room is this? Room 6 is this area. So I guess either one, it doesn't really make a difference. Whoops, no, we don't need that one open. We might need to use that for reference for some stuff in a minute, but we don't need it yet. Okay, so that one is gonna have our health stuff in it. It's perfect. We can put, maybe there's like some kind of mold on the walls that if there's someone who has a good enough nature check, they recognize that mold can, like, you know, be eaten for some health effects or something. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. So that means this one's just gonna have our random item. Okay. Great. Perfect. Excellent. Super duper. Okay, so we got that all figured out. We can get rid of our template here. Don't need that no more. Let's see here. We do need to manage so we need to manage our long rest risks. I always have this. So like I say, I like to, just to make sure that players don't get too used to like abusing the long rest system. You know, and like trying to take a long rest every 1 or 2 rooms. I always do, unless there's one room in every dungeon, or in every dungeon segment that can be fortified for the sake of having a safe long rest, and if they're not in that room when they take the long rest, we roll for the long rest risk table, and let them deal with whatever consequences, whatever like things happen there, just to make sure they're not too butthole-ish about it. Do you guys like how I have like subtle disdain for players, even though I love my players? There's sort of this like subtle sense of like, oh god, fuck those guys. It's all part of being a DM. It's just how it goes sometimes. Alright, so wandering monsters, always a risk. I always set them to like a medium challenge. And in this area, medium combat is going to have 460. We could just make 450 experience worth of enemies roaming around, which is going to be kind of intense there. We could do, what we could do, here's what we'll do. We'll do, this will make it really easy. Let's see, I knew it was going to do that. I knew it. So with this one, so one of them will be 4 giant goats. Right, because that'll be about a medium battle there. And then the other one, let's see, we're just going to copy that. In here, paste that. Ta-da. And then that one will be 5 giant goats. Boom, there we go. So one of them's like 50 over, one of them's 50 under. It's perfect. Let's see here. Let's have a rule. Put in your one shot. Or Jake's name in it because he's been known to not follow said rules. So rule specifically for him. Every time you read the rule, you make pointed eye contact with him. It's perfect. Am I currently writing for a specific game or just general world building? Right now, it's so I have my homebrew world. I can actually pull it up because I always love pulling it up. Pull up my world. There's my world. And every time I write a campaign, it takes place in this world. So as of right now, this campaign that we're working on specifically takes place in this hex, right over here. I think, yeah, you can see the little thing dancing around there. So in that hex right there, so we're making a campaign there. It is not one that presently any of my players are playing in, which is good because at least one of them is sitting in the chat watching me write stuff right now. So there are no secrets being given. So it's not explicitly for a campaign that I'm running right now, but it fits in with the rest of the world that I have, and it's a place that could easily be transitioned to during any other campaign if players would ever want like a change of pace, or if we're starting a new campaign and they want to be in the same world, all that kind of stuff. So it's still cohesive with my games that I am running, but it is not presently a campaign being run, no. It's a campaign that I figure I can pull out of my bum in the future when I need to, when I inevitably, because once it becomes known that you're a DM, every butthole and their brother wants you to teach them how to play and run a game for them. And I love doing it. I'm always happy to do it. I love doing it, don't get me wrong. But everyone always wants you to DM, and so it's really handy to have plenty of different campaigns kind of, tucked away and ready to go based on what type of atmosphere and situation and all of that kind of stuff, what the nature of the campaign that they want to have. It's good to have a variety of stuff. So I'm always just kind of doing world building, working on different campaigns. And I even do it going beyond D&D. I have like a sci-fi world that I work on. Not presently doing any projects in there, but I always have a couple of world building projects that I'm working on at any given time, because it's just what I do. I love doing it. I love writing. I love making up worlds and pretending that important things can happen in them. And then, okay, so here's our random event tables here. Just good to get that taken care of, so I don't forget about it. And now we can start really getting into the details of our rooms. Let's see here. We do need to, let's see here. There's just one shot, so I'm pretty excited. The player experience for this time in a while. Dude, I am stoked. I am stoked to play, to play your one shot. If anyone hasn't figured it out here, Antoine Charles here in the chat is one of my players. He's a butthole and I hate him. No, I'm just kidding, buddy. He's a good guy, and he has recently become as obsessed with me, or obsessed. Well, maybe obsessed with me. I don't know. Obsessed as me with world building is what I meant to say there. God, that's a Freudian slip if there ever was one. But yeah, and he's been working on doing some world building stuff, and he is going to take the reins this weekend, and I'm stoked about it. I'm stoked about being able to be a player. It's really the ultimate dream of any DM to have one of their little baby players take flight into the world of world building and DMing, so that they can then sit back and what I'm expecting to happen is I will sit back and I will realize that I have become far too much of a control freak, and I will hate it because I will want to be in charge. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure I'll love it. Resting heart rate has been above average this week. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, you stand. Yeah, like I say, I don't know. I'm both flattered and concerned. About being stand. I'm not sure I'm ready to deal with the implications of that. But, sometimes we just get thrown in the deep end. So you are the young grasshopper. You are the young Kimusabi. Okay, so hold on. I'm just gonna write a quick description of what's going on in here. This is the first half of the shrine. This part of the shrine does not have anything hidden in it regarding the key to the Hall of Wisdom that the players are searching for. So for anyone who doesn't know what on earth I'm talking about, the overarching mission for this campaign is there's there's an attempt to create a trade route from one city to the next that goes through these big, vastly open and uninhabited plains. The dragon that is the guardian of the plains is all like, humans mess everything up. You can't do this. And the humans are like, oh, please. And the dragon's like, okay, look, there's this Hall of Wisdom. I haven't been able to find the keys to get into it, but I really want to get into it because there's some really cool stuff in there. If you can get me the keys to that, I'll let you build the route. I'll let you build the route, okay? Trade for trade. And the players can be, then the players can either be like, great, that sounds awesome. Or they can be like, screw you, we're going to use all that stuff and we're going to use it to beat you. It's kind of up to them whether they want to be antagonistic with the dragon or not. Either way, they got to get the keys to the shrine. Unless they just completely reject the call to action, in which case the game ends at session 1. But that's what they're doing, and so one of the keys is supposedly hidden in this shrine somewhere. Not by the giants, hidden by someone who knew no normal person would want to go anywhere near giants, regardless of what is hidden there. So he figured it would be a pretty safe place. What he didn't expect is for people to, as foolhardy and stupid as D&D players, as D&D player characters, to catch wind of this. So that's what's going on here. That's what I'm talking about with the Hall of Wisdom. And the shrine is where they're ultimately going to be led to for one of the keys, the first key really that they'll find for this Hall of Wisdom. But it's hidden in here somewhere. And so this area, there's not going to be anything in here. There'll be keys for the rest of the shrine, and then it'll be the second half of the shrine is where he's hidden it. And it's honestly, it's not even going to be like this big thing where they have to go through and get a little dial put in every single room exactly right. You know, it's going to be overly simple. The guy's basically just going to be like, yeah, I pulled the rock out of the wall and I hid the key in there and I put the rock back in place. Giants are dumb. They never noticed. You know, and that's what it is. So it's going to be something super simple like that, just to kind of mess with them and make them realize it's no, not everything is grandiose. Sometimes people just bury things. And it's if you find it, then great. So, at any rate, so hidden in it so there's nothing. So this part of the shrine does not have anything hidden in it regarding the key. Well, there's not the player that the players, it's plural, are searching for. However, they will need to explore to find all 3 keys that are needed to access the second part of the shrine. And I think that's really all we need for description. I guess the only thing we can say is there are many cracks in the walls that players can use to bypass the locked doors as needed. However, the cracks also allow many other territorial creatures to have free reign of the shrine. And just a little description like that. This doesn't need to be anything. You know, we're not writing a novel there. We're just putting little notes to remind myself what on earth I was working on. Let's see here. Okay, we got about 10 minutes left in the stream. We can do at least one room, maybe a couple rooms. So for our danger here, in room 1, this is going to be a medium battle. So let's see here. In this western, yeah, right. That's the west. That's the one over. Yeah, that's over to the west there. So in this western, well, actually, you know what I want to do before I try to describe it? I want to know. It's going to be a medium battle. So medium battle needs to have about 450 experience points worth of combat in it. We can't just do a big giant herd of 9 elk. Why not, right? Let's do it. Let's do it. 9 elk. 9x elk. That's what's there. They gotta fight 9 elk if they want to get through there, because the elk are like, oh, this is our area. You get out of here. And that's what it is. In this western corner of the shrine exterior, a small herd of elk has taken up residence. No wonder, as the harsh winds of the mountain are blocked in 3 directions by the shrine itself. And I always write these narratively as if I could read them, to the players, so that way if I'm not, like, if it's been a while since I've looked at this and I don't really remember it, or if I'm just, my brain isn't firing on all cylinders on any given night when we're playing, I can read that if I'm not ready to ad-lib a description of what the area looks like for players. Let's see here. Shrine itself, which towers over even these rather large creatures. Add that just for a bit more fun. Let's see here. As you approach, you get the sense that the elk are not excited to have intruders in their territory. They watch you and appear to fan out as though getting ready to drive you away if necessary. So that'll kind of give the players, it's like, all right, you want to fight? Is this worth fighting for? You guys want to fight for this one? And that'll, I mean, of course they'll choose yes, because again, it's a game, it's a call to adventure, especially in a dungeon like this. Like I say, it's the way I make my dungeons. We're very clearly playing like almost a board game type of thing, the way I do dungeons. You know, because we've got our battle map, you're navigating around there. You know, we're playing a game. Do you play the game, or do you run away from the game? And sometimes running away, at least for a temporary thing, is a perfectly reasonable action, but ultimately it's like, if you want what's in here, you're gonna have to earn it. That's that. Alright, so there's a key here. There we go. Let's see here. Tucked in the corner is a rock that just seems a little off. And actually, you know what I want to do? We're going to do perception. This is still a fairly low level dungeon, so perception check. Perception, yeah, it'll be perception because there's not super obvious amount of evidence here. So perception DC 11 here. We don't want this too difficult. This is still pretty early, and also this is an essential thing. You know, it's fine to add challenges. I'll probably up the DCs for, like, you know, the money and things like that for perception checks and everything. But for an essential item like a key that's necessary to be moving on, it's good to add the checks, so that way you can just kind of see, like, whoever has the highest one, they're the one who finds it. They can kind of have that pride, like, oh, I'm the one that found it. You know, you can kind of give players that sense, but you don't want to make it too difficult, because you don't want to accidentally block them out of progression like they need to. And I got to run into some errands. Oh, yeah, errands are more important than me? Okay, I see how it is. No, I'm just kidding, buddy. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you. Appreciate you, brother. All right, so let's see here. Tucked in the corner is a rock that seems just a little off. As you inspect it, you see that the bottom is hollowed out, and a rusty but hopefully still function. They're errands for me. Oh, well, now I'm flattered. Later, man. Rusty but hopefully still functional key is hidden inside it. It's one of them key rocks. Yeah, and I think that's all we really need. So now I'm gonna quickly just throw down a couple sort of decorations, a couple details to make it look a bit prettier here, right? And we can, like, throw down where our key rock is. So let me just see here. Let's go to, I think actually we can go to use, yeah, we've used all these rocks. So we can just, like, this is a mountainy area, so we can just in general put some rocks here. And rocks, like throwing down some rocks, I want to understand this. That's what's making this kind of weird. It's fun to throw down just some rocks and stuff here, because rocks can be used to kind of, like, inhibit vision and stuff like that too for combat. Just it makes things a little more dynamic, I find. So I like throwing rocks down, especially in these mountainous areas. It makes sense for them to be let's see here. And what we'll do, hold on, where is it? There we go. We'll just put like one rock right in the corner, right? A little too perfectly placed in the corner, right? That's our key rock there. So we can just kind of throw down a few other rocks around here just to add a bit of flavor. It can add some complexity and make it a bit more interesting. See, these rock piles always feel a little too perfect, so I always kind of couple them with other things. And then maybe, you know, another loose couple rocks over there just to spruce it up a bit. Can add a little bit more. No, I already used that rock. There we go. That's a little different one. Kind of put one right there just to make some interesting, more dynamic things, right? Because it's like if the elk are going to charge, they can like try and be hiding behind the rock and give themselves some cover to break the line of sight and stuff like that. I think that is a fun way to just add a bit more of a dynamic feel to some of these fights and everything. Mixes it up. Players always seem to like having those options available to them, right? Do kind of the same thing over here. Do like a rock like right there against the wall. There we go. I don't think we need to do anything else because I'm not gonna bother putting any of the monsters down in here because I want just like ours. It's a specified battle map, but I want it to be reusable, and I also want to make sure that when I save this as like an image or something like that, we don't have permanently placed elk roaming around there. They need to be movable, obviously. So, all right, I am going to save, and I am looking at the clock, and it is local time 1:28, and writing stream ends at 1:30. So it's probably time for me to call it a writing stream. I am going to still be streaming a little bit, but we're going to switch over and we're going to do some video games. So if you want to watch me play some Mass Effect, you can hang around a little bit. I'll probably take about, I'm going to take about a 15-minute break, but I will still be around. We're actually finishing, I think we're going to finish Mass Effect 3 today. We've been playing it for ages, and I think we're close enough. I think I can finish it on today's stream. So if you want to see that exciting conclusion, if you want to hang out and watch that, feel free. If you're here for the D&D stuff, then don't stick around because I will not be doing more D&D. We're calling it a D&D session for the day. So that's what's about to happen here. Thank you so much to everyone for everyone for stopping by. What is the name of the world builder? You're talking about the map here? The mapping thing that I'm using? I'm using Dungeon Draft is the program that I'm using, and I highly recommend it. It is a wonderful program. I definitely have enjoyed using it. It's not free, but it's a very good value, I find. So, but yeah, so yes, thank you so much to everyone who stopped by. I appreciate each and every one of you. You guys are all rad. I definitely have all kinds of fun doing these streams. I really like sharing my ideas, and I like hearing ideas that other people come up with too sometimes. So, it's a good time. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you're going to stick around, I will see you in maybe about 15-20 minutes. If you are not going to stick around, that's totally fine. I totally understand. A lot of people are here for the D&D content, and there's a lot of other D&D streamers you can swap over to. So, go give them some love. Either way, I hope to see you soon. Take care of yourselves, and I will be back fairly shortly. So, thank you, everybody.